What now?
Oh, no. Not again.
No. Not like this.
Come on. Only a fool lets himself get surrounded. If this cold numbs my fingers any worse, I'll scarcely be able to hold a weapon.
Can't be too careful these days, with the war and other dangers. For a fair price, I'll watch your back.
Need
Watch your
something?
back, friend. Better yet, pay me to do it for you.
Talk to B first. She's the mouth of this operation. If she says you're okay, then we'll talk.
Tidings, honoured guest. My name is Beatrice. The raffish companion you see beside me goes by the name of Urzub. The timing of your visit is rather impeccable. Urzub has just secured a fresh skeever which we hope to prepare at the top of the hour. We welcome you to join us in the consumption of this delectable feast. Drink and breathe, traveller. Urzub, does this skeever look overcooked to you? It would not be prudent to burn the steak of our honoured guest.
Where is it? I lost sight of it again. I need another drink.
Let your mind go beyond what should be thought, and you will see what can't be thought. Why, there could be no other place. It has been chosen by serendipity herself. For I have ventured far across the river, where the rogues known as the Forsworn reside. I was once such a rogue. A disagreement over refreshments led to my departure. Verily, I was not alone in my thirst, for as I ventured north, another came south. Me associate Urzub was slaving in the mines of Mor Khazgur when a similar thirst afflicted him and sent him to this location. It is for that reason that I have dubbed this settlement Less Khazgur. Why, yes. As half the population is still up, by rule, it's still classified as a stronghold. More or less. Why, the rule of estimation. If that is cause for confusion, allow this host to offer a guest an example. Take me associate here, who stands roughly 2¼ sword lengths in height. For the sake of brevity, he might tell a stranger he's only 2 sword lengths tall, which does indeed convey his general stature. In this instance, one always rounds to the nearest old number. Now suppose you are exactly 2.5 sword lengths in height. Why, his distance from the numbers 2 and 3 would be equal. In this instance, the rules state we choose the next highest round number when making an estimate. The same rule applies to the composition of this settlement. Given that there are half as many orcs and half as many Bretons, one might estimate that this settlement consists of all orcs and all Bretons. That may be true of someone with your education and intellectual vigour, but we common folk must rely on estimates. For one with humble origins such as I, one needs round numbers to count on her round fingers. We are troubadours, celebrators of life. We drink and feast from twilight to cock's crow, in tribute to tradition and song. Many peddlers, hunters and even forsworn will pay good coin for a warm fire, good drink and a verse from the poetic Edda. The poetic Edda is part of the living history of Skyrim, first passed on orally and then through the written word. From the campfires of memorable days to the taverns of forgotten nights, the poetry is passed on and added to by each generation. And while as our guest, the honour of the first verse is yours, I can fulfil this role in your stead. The choice falls onto you, humble traveller. If the gods bless and the mood strikes, then by all means feel free to recite. Oh, forgive me, manners, this host did not mean to presume. Perhaps then I will sanctify this meeting with my own reading from the Edda. Before the birth of dragons, mud crabs ruled Mundus. Their word was the claw, and they spoke only for pinching. Soon, mortals were born and spread over Mundus, swearing fealty to the mud crabs who presided as kings. For both man and beast were pitiful creatures, too parched to speak, throats dry with no voice. The mortals were brave and unafraid of the claw, but the mud crabs pinched them until they fell to their knees. Kine took pity and brought mortals moon sugar to ferment and bottle and smoke through burnt leaf. With drink came the voice to shout off the mud, ending the reign of the crab in the sea. But mortal beware, for even as king, refreshment is power, best used in a pinch. As our guest, I cannot refute the legitimacy of your claim. I only ask that you have a refreshment and open your mind to hearing another verse. When your thirst is quenched, I will do my best to give the Edda the reading it deserves. The choice falls onto you, humble traveller. If the gods bless and the mood strikes, then by all means feel. Certainly, I hope my recital does this piece justice. The northern wolf ruled the earth and roamed the dense forest, tracking game and spilling blood, all for Hersene's glory. Then one day it met a hawk, perched high upon a bough, who filled filled its belly every day by stealing hunters' fowl. The wolf changed its tactics from a hunter of the day to one that chases tired beasts from their rightful prey. This drew Ursine's ire, his rage and his might, for upon the wolf he cast a curse that came on moonless nights. The wolf's fur was stripped down to the last strand, and until the moon's returned he walked the earth as a mortal man. As our most timely and honoured guest, it is not my place to disagree, nor will I deny any other flattery you wish to send my way.
I'd pay good money for a pint of ale and warm my bones.
For our honoured guest, we have the cleanest refreshments this world has to offer, although I cannot speak for the next. Now, when I say clean, I hope I am not misrepresenting the potency of our drink, as I am referring to a very specific type of clean. Well, the word clean can be defined in a variety of ways. There's clean like the Carth River, and clean like the smell of a brisk summer breeze. There is clean like the white of a freshly washed tunic, or clean like the inside of a recently scrubbed cauldron. Whether it is a clean towel, a clean river, or a clean shave, the difference is in the surface. Well, one might say clean refreshment and clean taste come when a drink washes smoothly over the surface of your tongue. The refreshments we have gathered, on the other hand, seek to clean the surface of the mind. It can be imbibed or inhaled, smoked or suckled, but the result is the same: crystal clarity. Our most welcome guest has an acute sense of smell, although me associate and I prefer the term refreshment, as it more accurately defines our drink. Why, by cleansing our guests of the banal, imagine every boring thought stranded in your mind, washed away by a tide of concentrated joy. While others hope for the improbable and dream the impossible, when your mind is cleansed of preconception, the impossible will dream of you. That's right. I ask you, traveller, when was the last time you dared to think of that which cannot be? In the time between this sentence and the last, I have witnessed two such fantastical events. Behind you, I saw a bear dressed in Thalma robes, trained to sniff out Talus worshippers. In the curve of its eyes, I saw the future, where the septim had been replaced by pieces of coke as Tamriel's most commonly traded currency. Perhaps our guest would like to give it a try. Simply clear your mind and envision one impossible thing. An admirable try, but this host recommends you imbibe some refreshments before proceeding any further. Why, dear guest, it was not more than 20 paces from where you stand. If this answer perplexes you, allow me to recount the events that transpired. I had recently absconded from Drudat Redart with 2 bottles of refreshment on my person when I arrived at the bank of the river. Viewing the campfire in proximity of the dwarven ruin, I attempted to cross the feral current, warily dipping my toes into its mire. The water was as cold as it was irritable, so I decided to abandon this pursuit, given that I am not well versed in the swimming craft. Yet, no sooner did I turn around than a great big dragon swept overhead, the force of which catapulted me into the water. I fought the current, kicking and gulping, and in my tantrum I managed to wedge my leg between 2 rocks. It was rather embarrassing, but I took some consolation in the fact that I was not the first to drown in such an inglorious manner. No, for laying in the rock beside me was a skeletal fellow, more bones than skin and more clothes than bone. He seemed to have died from a fracture to the skull, and his lifeless body was nestled comfortably beside me. Meanwhile, Urzub, having witnessed my folly, rushed to the river to rescue me, but I could only stare at the corpse in the river. Then I noticed his right hand seemed to glimmer like a bauble, which makes sense as he was clutching one. I reached for the bauble just as Urzub reached for me. He forced me out of the river like a bear swatting a salmon. When I first spoke to Urzub, I didn't recognise the words, but there were none that I'd ever acquainted myself with before. Tidings to you, friend. You have a meticulous eye, traveller. Yet to answer your query, I must first tell you a story. There was once a peddler from elsewhere who sought to bring a barrel of the finest refreshments to his cousin in Skyrim. Unfortunately, those who governed the Empire frowned upon the imbibing of clean, savoury drinks. Undaunted, he sought to smuggle them inside bottles of a popular brand of mead, brewed by a local man named Modo. However, the choice proved to be his downfall, for the guards quickly confiscated his wagon. Not at all. These guards were acting in their own interests. They drank it. They say not a throat was dry that night. From the tavern to the Jarl's longhouse, palates were washed and minds were cleansed. And from the womb of that infinite revelry came a flash of inspiration, a paroxysm of melody and song. The bottles we store at this camp represent a harking back to that day, to the true spirit of the bard's tune. If they are true students of history, they would. Alas, these days people confuse the erudite with the recondite and the artful with the arcane. However, it seems you are the one with the unquenchable thirst for knowledge. That is why only you can restore Morgoth's mead to its true glory. I foresee a great quest, a reckoning with you at the centre. It is with much regret I say, doubtful, for the mead wars have claimed many in our time and times past. The great whale, Maven Blackbriar, has swallowed barrel after brewery, and still her appetite is nothing short of rapacious. However, the popularity of the song Morgoth's Mead persists, and now even the whale has conceded there is profit in another brand's name. Yes. In fact, word has travelled to our ears of a party to unveil the drink under the whale's banner. They plan to replicate the original recipe, but alas, not the recipe that inspired the song. This travesty of justice must be rectified immediately, and that is the quest I would have you endure. What we're doing is curing the masses of their ignorance. You will lift the fog that covers their minds through the imbibing of clean refreshment. Thus your task is simple, for you need only replace the bottles. The refreshment will handle the rest. Here, a case of the finest Morgoth's mead, specially brewed for added clarity. Now go, henceforth to Blackbriar Meadery. Go and champion the cause of our enlightenment. Urzub is a fine host, and it is by virtue of his hunting skill that we are blessed with this current feast. Unfortunately, he is far less loquacious than I, especially in the presence of new guests. However, our guests might find that after a bottle of refreshment and some time by the campfire, the words flow faster than the cart itself. Farewell.
Like B said, we're having rats for dinner. You in or out? Sometimes you gotta squint real hard. Other times they camouflage themselves by turning the color of a bush. Them skeevers can be real sneaky. Sometimes it'll take 2 or maybe 3 bottles before you spot one. But they're there. What's with that look? You think I'm mad or something? To the void with you, then. Skooma. Poison, basically. Although that doesn't make it much different from the kind they serve at the inn. Not that they should serve it. Skooma's got a little more bite than mead or ale. By Malakath, it'll take a chunk of your mind and your coin purse if you aren't careful. But for some folks, it doesn't do either. Just look at me. I can put half a dozen bottles down and not have the urge for another. I must have been a fur walker in my past life. Same with B. They say skooma will make you dumber than a mud crab. We'll know it by listening to her. Won't stop using all them fancy words. Hey, watch your mouth. That's my dealer you're talking about. So either ease up or get out. That's something I've been wondering myself. Seeing as we only started with but 2 bottles. Except now, we got enough to fill a brewery. And I have no idea where it all came from. I asked B, and she says it was a gift from the dwarves. So, seeing as we're sitting on top of this ruin, I thought it might have something to do with that dwarven box over there. But the other day I put a bottle and a few pieces of gold in there, just to see what would happen. And nothing. My guess is she has a separate stash lying around here, but hasn't told me where. She probably thinks I'd kill her if I knew the location. Smart girl. I hail from Mor Khazgur, a stronghold to the north of here. Used to work the mines with gold and gamors. Good people, bad miners. I brought Shuftar's twice as much ore as the 2 of them put together. But the stronghold only values strength with a sword, and not a pickaxe. So, instead of passing my ore off to Shuftar's and Oler, I stashed half of it away in one of the barrels outside the mine. Me and this Khajiit peddler, you see, we came to an arrangement. I leave him ore, he leaves me skooma. Worked out pretty well at first. Only, the furball got greedy. He wanted me to smelt the ore into ingots. Said it was easier to move. Except it takes 2 pieces of ore to make an ingot. And I don't know the first thing about smelting. The peddler called me a liar and threatened to tell Chief Larak about our arrangement. So, I decided to make a new arrangement between his head and my pickaxe. I'll have to take your word for it. The stronghold didn't think I was fit to be a warrior. In other words, I may be an orc by birth, but I was a miner by choice. Although, the choice was never mine. Sure, orcs tend to look like them. Fighters. Chief Larak, he was a fighter. Fought for the Legion once. Give him a sword, and he'll clip the wings off a fly right before he shaves its bottom. Only now, I hear he's parading around a stronghold in some fur diaper. Doesn't even bother to wear armor. Mostly because I'm wearing it. No, I got nothing against the chief, but I wasn't gonna go out into the wilderness without some steel. That's right. Day and night my body was shaking, and I didn't know if it was from the cold or the withdrawal. Couldn't start a fire to find out. So what I did was, I went up on that hill and waited for one of them pyromancers. Figured if I got him to chase me, maybe one of his stray fire bolts might strike the logs. At least, it sounded like a good idea at the time. And nearly burned down the whole camp before I got my steel in them. Trying to salvage my things, I turned my helm into a bucket and went for the river. That's when I caught sight of a dainty Breton girl with 2 bottles of purple nectar sticking out of her pockets. Now, my eyesight isn't that great, but I can spot a bottle of skooma from 40 leagues away. I nearly tore my own sausage off when the girl got spooked by her own shadow and fell in the river. You'd think she saw a dragon or something. So, I dove in after her. I said to oblivion with the camp. 2 bottles of moon drink were on the line. That's how I met B. So, the other day, B says that when you write it, the word small is just about twice the size of the word big. That doesn't make sense to me. Then she tells me the word smaller is even bigger than small. And the word smallest is bigger than both of them. Ugh, no, my head hurts. Well, now that you mention it, there is. Do you by chance know magic? As in, fire spells and things like that? Well, here's the thing. Whenever I got off the skooma, either cause there weren't none nor my supplier never showed up, I'd get real tense. I'd be in the mine, and my teeth would start chattering louder than the pickaxes. Then there was the sweat, like taking a bath inside your clothes. I figured I was about to lose my mind if I didn't find something to fill the void. One night, I tell Bagrack I'm going out into the woods to gather my thoughts. She tells me, gathering thoughts, or just the one? Guess she knew what I'd been up to. Either way, she lets me out of the stronghold, and I just started walking. Good question. Maybe she didn't care, or maybe she didn't know after all. Never asked her what she meant by the one. Even I'm not that stupid. I wandered around a bit, looking for a ditch to lay in and die. Made it halfway to solitude when my knees buckled, and I collapsed on my bottom. I must have been a sad sight. Even the rabbits started getting curious. One of them scampered close enough to where I could pet it. Except I didn't stroke its fur. I grabbed it. Then I picked up the torch, and I lit its rear end on fire. It was pretty satisfying. Suddenly, all the tension in my muscles was gone. After that, I made it like a ritual. Went out every night, found some furry thing, and set it aflame. helped keep me sane for the most part. Not enough to stay in the stronghold and work the mines, but enough to get up and leave. Don't need to anymore, now that I got drink. Although, I still get the urges whenever I see one of them furry bastards. Only, Bee saw me burn a fox the other day, and she didn't like it one bit. Now she won't let me anywhere near the fire, so I gotta make my own. Well, maybe you'd be willing to trade some fire scrolls, in exchange for some of our skooma. I just need something I can stash away, so B doesn't think I'm doing the thing I'm actually doing. Just drop them in the barrel under the bottles when you get the chance. Grilled chicken breast. I was just thinking, those are 3 of my favorite words. But put them together, and it isn't half as satisfying. All right then. Huh?
I'm here to help. What do you need to take? Let me know if you need anything.